Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Friday, May 1st, 2015, with another eBay video, and we have quite a few topics to discuss. What I'd like to try and cover today is some feedback, bullet points, Google Chrome errors, another webinar coming up, some common mistakes, a little bit about SEO information, another Uline delivery, and hassle-free returns. So hopefully we can cover each and every one of those topics. So let's just jump right into it. I read your comments on last week's video, and they were very helpful and insightful, and I have taken some of those topics which I'm going to be talking about today. I'd like to thank many of you guys who said you found my videos helpful, and I will continue to keep putting them out every single Friday, bar none. This is the only dedicated eBay channel on YouTube that comes out every Friday with a new video. I've been doing it since 2007, and I will continue to do it. And I thank you for sticking with me all these years. I would like to firstly discuss feedback. Somebody wrote in on the comments last week saying that a lot of his customers do not leave him positive feedback, and that is a common problem on eBay. Okay? I notice it myself. What I do is when I send somebody an item, I send them a note with it. We've talked about this in the past. That says basically, thank you for buying my item. I appreciate you as a customer. If you have any problems with the item, call me directly. And I would appreciate positive feedback. And of course, I always leave positive feedback for my buyers. That's only fair for them. But I send them the note, and does it help? Sometimes it does. It helps when there's a problem because the person calls me directly and doesn't open any case. So that's a positive. This week I've only had one return, and it wasn't a true return, it's an exchange. A guy bought an item. He didn't read what it was, of course. It's the wrong item for him, but I have the right one, so I told him I'd exchange it. I had no cancellations at all. But regarding the feedback, in case you don't know it, after a month goes by, eBay will send a feedback reminder to your customer saying, don't forget to leave feedback for your item. So you may notice sometimes that you get feedback a month to the day after you make the sale. That's because eBay sends a friendly reminder, and I find that helps. But still, I don't get positive feedback for all my transactions. What I would like to see eBay do is, let's say after a month goes by, send out the letter as they're doing. Then give another 2 weeks, and if the person does not leave positive feedback, I think eBay should leave automated positive feedback for every seller. Okay? No, seriously. I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. Obviously, if there's a problem with the item, the buyer will contact you or even open a case. But there's a lot of happy buyers out there that never leave positive feedback, and we're not getting credit for those sales. I would really like to see eBay leave automated positive feedback for every transaction after a given time. Let's say, for argument's sake, say 45 days. What do you guys think of that? I think it would be very helpful. My sales have been up this week. Last week I told you guys how the week prior was lackluster and not that great. You may remember during last week's video my iPhone ka-chinged with a sale. And ever since that point, it's been a very good week, okay? I'm hoping your sales went up as well. The truth is, I can't point to any one thing that I can attribute the spike in sales to. I just don't know. It could be any number of things, okay? I'm hoping you guys shared in the gravy. I was so busy that I actually had to place yet another Uline order. So let's just do a real quick cutaway right now, and I'll show you me receiving the Uline order. And then we'll get back to the eBay video as scheduled. All right, guys, got another delivery today, Friday, May the 1st. Let's take a look at what we got. Hope it's something good. What happened?
I don't know, they want me to go on this.
Okay. When I seen that truck, I thought it was a different driver.
No.
Oh, you're half empty already, almost.
No. That'll look empty to you.
Half empty.
Not even.
But when you leave here, it will be. You know, I'm going to make you famous.
Did I get a commission for that?
Well, I'll tell you what. When I get the commission, I'll pass them down to you.
I don't know.
So have you checked out the Crazy New York Driver channel on YouTube?
Okay.
Yeah. Have you checked it out?
No.
I guess not. Okay, guys, I'd like to point out that Uline is still giving free shipping on big orders like mine. I had somebody write into the Facebook groups saying that they called Uline and placed an order, and Uline said that they're not giving free shipping anymore. Now, I don't know why she was told that. Maybe she had a really small order, but I had no problem getting free shipping on mine. The only thing they clocked me for was an extra $30 for the liftgate. That they charged me 30 bucks for the liftgate. And they tried to do this in the past. I always fought them on it and won, but this time they wouldn't back down, so I had to fork over $30 for a liftgate. But have any of you guys ever paid $30 charge for the liftgate on Uline? If so, I'd like to hear about that. Now, quite a few guys have written in about Google Chrome errors on eBay. Those of you who use Google Chrome. I have Chrome on my Mac, but I don't really like using it. But I know a lot of you do. And Griff addressed the Google Chrome problem on Tuesday's edition of eBay Radio. So I will drop a link to that section of the show in the description box below, so those of you guys who are experiencing the problems will know what to do. On Wednesday that just passed, I told you there was going to be a webinar with John Lawson and Gladys Ramos discussing SEO. And for those who don't know it, SEO is search engine optimization. I attended the video, as did 57 other people. And the webinar lasted 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it was very helpful. Okay? I'm not going to cover every single point about it, but there are a couple of things I would like to mention. Now, with SEO, you're probably saying, what qualifies a person as an SEO expert? All right? Who is an SEO expert? Now, Gladys Ramos and John Lawson are both SEO experts. And what differentiates them from a lot of other YouTube people is that they actually sell on eBay, and they put their practices into action. They apply them to their eBay listings, which is what actually proves them as experts. Now, I'm not saying they're the only two experts on YouTube or on the internet. No, I'm sure there's others. I know there are other people on YouTube that make such videos. I haven't watched all of them. I don't have the time to watch all of them, all right? I don't really need to because I know these two good people. The only thing you need to be careful of are the bottom feeders. The people who claim to be SEO experts but have been kicked off eBay for violating policies. Those are the people you want to stay away from. Stay away from fishy information. If a person has been booted from eBay, that's a warning sign, guys. You can take it from me, the crazy New York driver. Stick to people who work above board. Kabish? Okay. I'd like to talk a little bit about bullet points now. This has been an ongoing tug of war between, various factions. Can you use bullet points in your eBay listings without screwing up Google search? The answer is yes, you can, but it has to be done a particular way. It has to be done through HTML, and I mentioned this last week and a few people questioned about it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do a quick cutaway to a very short tutorial about how to do bullet points in your eBay listings. So let's do that right now. Okay guys, let me show you how to add bullet points to your eBay listings. There's a right way and a wrong way. Here's an example of the wrong way. You'll notice that I typed in star hubcaps, star wheels, star steering wheel. Google search cannot read this. If you click over to the HTML tab, you can clearly see right there that the star is showing through, and it's going to definitely screw you up in search. The correct way to do it is number one, get rid of all this. Now, you do not type in here. You have to click over to the HTML tab right there. I went ahead and I copied this ahead of time. Let's click back to standard, and there you are. That is the correct way to do it. Bullet point hubcaps, bullet point wheels, bullet point steering wheel. Okay? You'll notice you must use the correct HTML code. There are HTML editors available online. I don't have a link to drop for you right now, but hopefully this will clear up the discrepancy people were asking last week on the video. But now, let's get right back to this week's video. Okay guys, I hope that helped you. Keep in mind, I do not claim to be an SEO expert in any way. I got some of this information from the webinar on Wednesday night with John Lawson and Gladys Ramos. There are HTML helpers available online. I don't have a link that I can share with you, but if any of you guys have a link, will you type it in the description box below, in the comment section below, or you can send it to me directly, and I'll be happy to share it with the audience. I find HTML to be a pain in the neck, but some of you are probably saying, well, Joe, considering that it is a little bit more work, why bother with bullet points? And there's one positive aspect they do have. People do not like to read. I swear. They'll look at a paragraph you have and they won't even read that full paragraph. They'll skim through it at best. But if you have bullet points like I just showed you, they will look at those bullet points and immediately absorb them. So I do understand that bullet points do have a positive aspect in that respect. One other mistake that's been made, and I've made this myself, I've totally made this mistake in my descriptions. When I list an item, let's just say I'm listing a 1994 Buick Century hubcap. That's my title. Now, in my description, I've always started it off with the same wording, 1994 Buick Century hubcap, and then the description. And that goes back to the early days of eBay when people would not read my listings and bid on the wrong item. However, as things have evolved, What I'm doing now is actually repetitious. There's no need for me to have the title again in the description section because that's wasting valuable Google search space. So slowly but surely, I'm going to do away with that. And if any of you guys are doing it too, it's something you should do away with. This is another example of how I've learned from the experts about SEO. Next Wednesday, May 6th, eBay is putting out a free webinar at 11 a.m. California time or 2 p.m. East Coast time here. I mentioned it last week. I got it up on the whiteboard behind me. I suggest every one of you guys register for the webinar. It's like the old saying, it's like chicken soup. It can't hurt, all right? You'll be able to log into your My eBay and register for the webinar that way. You must be a registered eBay user to log into the webinar. Hassle-free returns is something that a lot of you guys like to talk about. As you probably know, I am not in hassle-free returns because in my opinion, it lends itself to a buyer clicking a SNAD return to get the free shipping. And I will not subject myself to that. I do take returns. In my listings, I have them listed as 14-day returns. However, as you know, on eBay, you have to take returns up to 30 days. And PayPal's even longer. But I have no problem taking returns. But if a person makes a mistake, they should pay the return shipping, period. Case in point. A couple of weeks ago, I had a guy buy an item from me, and he got the item, and he wrote to me and said, Joe, I got the item, it looks beautiful, but I made a mistake. I bought the wrong size. I need 14-inch. If you have these in 14-inch, I will gladly pay you extra, he said to me. The guy was nice as can be. No complaints with him at all. A totally honest eBayer. However, had I been taking hassle-free returns, he may have mistakenly clicked on the SNAD button. And that would have generated a label, and I would have had to pay the return shipping. I believe sellers should pay the return shipping only if they screw up. If they send the wrong item, or if they actually do send an item not as described. And that does happen, especially with these China sellers who are representing cheap aftermarket garbage as name brand items. And that seems to be proliferating eBay. Depending on what category you sell in, some of you guys notice it more than others. In auto parts, I notice it quite a bit. I have said for the longest time, and you guys who have been long-time viewers will know this, that each eBay category should have what I would call a category manager. All right, let's just talk about eBay Motors since I'm an expert on eBay Motors. Now you got eBay Motors vehicles, people who are selling used cars. That's one thing. Then you got eBay Motors parts and accessories. That's another thing. So let's say an eBay worker named John Smith was in charge of vehicles. Smith would then go out and cull a bunch of reputable eBay vehicle sellers who are experts in their field, and they would sit on an advisory board. The same with parts and accessories, guys like me. So let's say Bill Jones, eBay worker, was in charge of parts and accessories. He would go out and he would cull a bunch of long-time experienced eBay sellers, such as myself, who know parts and accessories. And we would actually sit on an ad hoc committee so that when a buyer has a problem with an item he bought on eBay, those arguments, if I want to use the word arguments, or cases, let's say, those cases would be given to us and we would mediate them. So let's say a certain seller from China sold Volvo parts He claims they're authentic Volvo parts, but they're not. They're cheap knockoff Volvo parts. We would find in favor of the buyer in that case. Okay? Kabish? Whereas if the seller actually did send Volvo parts and it was a case of buyer remorse, then we would find in the case of the seller. Will this ever come to pass? I don't know. But I tell you, man, think about it. And this goes for every category, not just eBay Motors. Let's talk about coins. Gary, you love to call me and talk about coins. You know this would work in your field as well, and I think you would be an excellent candidate for a person to sit on the advisory board of eBay Coins. All right? And a lot of you guys would close. Close seems to be the category with the most problems, especially with sizes. In the Facebook groups, people every day are writing in saying, oh my God, I had a case opened against me. I sold a pair of size 12s and the buyer got them and says they don't fit her and this and that. And man, I don't know how I could handle selling clothes. I really don't. I really just couldn't do it. But what do you guys think about that little idea? I've brought this up in the past and unfortunately it hasn't gone anywhere. But maybe someday it will. All right, let's go over the salient points of this week's eBay video. Do you guys notice you're not receiving as much positive feedback as you should for your successful sales? And don't you think that eBay should give automatic positive feedback after a certain amount, let's say 45 days, so long as there was no problem with the order and the buyer never made any complaint? I think that's a great idea. I talked about the bullet points and why they're good or why they could be helpful in your listings. I hope my little quickie tutorial from a non-SEO expert helped you. I'm doing my best, guys. I hope it helped you. Griff talked about Google Chrome errors. If any of you guys use Google Chrome, you might want to check the link. I'm going to drop in to eBay Radio the other day where Griff talked about it. There's an eBay webinar coming up this Wednesday, the 6th. I suggest you guys register. As I said, I got another Uline delivery. You saw that. I'm not in hassle-free returns. At this point, I don't see myself getting into that. If you guys have any SEO questions, you could always check in with John Lawson or Gladys Ramos. They put webinars out periodically. You don't have to use them if you don't want. If you have a friend or some other person on YouTube you think is reputable, God bless you. Use them. Do what works for you. Just avoid the bottom feeders, those who've been banned from eBay, kicked off for life, and offer fishy information. Who am I? I'm Crazy New York Driver, and you're not. Thanks, guys, for watching my video once again this Friday, May 1st, 2015. Slap a like, all right? Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next Friday, right here on the Crazy New York Driver Show. Rock on, man.